Black narratives, and in particular, history tends to do that with Black biblical narratives, right? And so these are not just boys, these were Black Hebrew boys, and they contested against trial and tribulation to not to get the gold or to get a prize and to say they had done it, but to prove their love and devotion to the God that we serve. And so I'm really, really proud of Daniel, and I'm more proud of Meshach and Shadrach and Abednego, and I'd like to think that we find, I have found so much strength and so much evidence of just how big and how grand God is in this story. So I'm really, really excited to tell not just my truth, but their truths throughout the narratives that the portraits portray. I'd like to think that I paint gospel hymns. When I was younger, you know, when my nana, when the word didn't quite get me, meaning when I didn't really understand, Nana would fill in the gaps with gospel. She would fill in the gaps with song, if you would. And I would like to think that I cook up those songs, and then I cook up those a little bit of salt, you know, a little bit of Laurie's, you know. Then you shake it around a little bit, then you bring it back a little bit, and then to God's no glory, I come out of prayer with something that it's just greater than what I understand, but it really, really fits in with the rhythm of who we are and of who we've always been. We've always been present in biblical spaces. Black faces, African faces have always been the faces that are present in biblical tales, and I think it's about time that we start uncovering and giving ourselves that truth. We don't have to do it for nobody else. This ain't necessarily to brag about whether or not Jesus is Black or not. That's not what this is. It's important that we see ourselves in the culture of the Christ that we serve. Again, in the culture of Christ, right? And so I'm a Jesus freak, you know what I mean? And so I love Daniel and I love the Hebrew boys, and I can't wait to talk about King Nebuchadnezzar, because even though King Nebuchadnezzar was like this bad dude, you know, who made these heinous commands and stuff, and gold statues and these crazy idols, and threatened people with death, and if you would in fire. I know, but he called the purpose of it all. What I'm trying to say is sometimes your enemy is the voice of your portal. That's who's gonna call you into your place where you need to. That's who's gonna call you into your pit of fire. That's who's gonna test your faith. It's the one that you don't really want to look at. Sometimes it's your deepest enemy, quote unquote. But God asks that we forgive our enemies. And God asks that we pray for our enemies. And I'd like to think that these boys wouldn't be who they were, and the story wouldn't be what it was without that enemy. And so as much as we cast shadows against the King Nebuchadnezzar for bringing the boys into the fiery pit, and he threatened them, you know, and he was like, listen, if you don't bow down to this statue, it's going in. You know, they were bound together. You know how they do us? It's bound together. They was like, all right, well, you know, if God don't come through, going in anyway. King looked at them before you knew it. You know, the king's men fell into the fiery pit. And the king had turned the fiery pit up so it was hot, which means everyone around the boys burned except the boys who were bound together. And then the king was like, hold up. He said to his boys, hold up. I put three. Hold up. I sent in 3 boys. He said, wait a minute, it's 4. He said, wait a minute, it looks like the Son of God. He said, oh my goodness, wait a minute, it looks like the Son of God. And all he saw was flames around them. It is said, the word says that the boys danced in the fire of the baptism. It says that the grace was so good, the boys danced. Well, sometimes I like to think that whether you like to admit it or not, I think the king scratched his head a little bit. He said, well, now I know. He said, all right, y'all, well, whether I like to say it or not, you do serve the God of gods. You know, they didn't brag about it. You know, they didn't boast about their blessings of having come through the fire. Brought it all in, and they went back into that space, back into that covering, back into that delivery, and prayed together. And I'd like to think that if we lean on prayer with a little more faith, we will find that the portals or the entrance or the space to get closer to the God that we serve truly exists in the deepest and darkest and dinkest sometimes circumstances. God has delivered me through prayer. I have created, and to God be all glory. I'm just grateful to be the vessel that I am. I'm grateful that I'm grateful to the chooser, and I trust the chooser, and I trust thee who holds my brush, and Yeshua is as much a source as the colors red, green, or blue are.